Welcome to Let's Roger That. I'm Gilles. Today I'm going to do a quick job for a customer who came in wanting some pins for his backhoe. Let's go. So what we got here is one of those rings, and we need to turn down this piece to fit in here, plus minus 5 thousandths of an inch. This one needs to be short to 5 1/4 and then turn down to the diameter of this pin. So what I'm going to start with is taking this to the lathe and cleaning it up so the rust is off and we get the appropriate diameter of this piece. Okay, let's measure that out. All right, our measurement is 1 inch, 763 thousandths. All right, so here's our piece. We're going to start by facing off both ends, and then we'll go from there. Found the center, and now I'm going to put a 60-degree hole in there for a live center to hold this piece correctly while it gets turned down to the proper diameter. Okay, so the diameter of that long pin is 1 inch 763 thousandths. This is a 2-inch piece of 4140. So we've got 238 thousandths to go down. So let's do that. The final length is going to be 5 1/4, so I'm going to go way past, and then we'll have less diameter to cut after the fact. Okay, I like to do a quick sandage check. Let's have a quick measuring. Measurement is 1 inch 837 thousandths. Same thing here. There's a variance of 1/10 of 1 thousandths, which is pretty acceptable. Okay, we're good. So now we've got 74 thousandths to go. Now, if I did this correctly, we should have 15 thousandths to go. So let's check that out. Okay, so that's exactly on the money. So we'll come back to 0, dial in 15 thousandths, and that'll be right on the ball. That's it for that. There we go. Okay, so I'm at the bandsaw, and because there's an unevenness there, right? The diameter at this end is bigger, and I want to ensure that everything is plane on the exact same plane when I cut it. I've got a couple of high precision V-blocks here, and that's tightened down and put everything nice and level. I've verified my length, so I'm giving myself, let's see here, 280 thousandths, so that gives me 30 thousandths to play with, should my blade not be as accurate as it usually is. So let's cut this puppy. Perfect. All right, let's continue. Okay, so I've got an indicator on this thing, a dial. I've got this thing going within 2 thousandths of an inch. Let's tighten it down. Do it on each one of the chucks. And check again. It came even closer, so that's great. So now I'm ready to phase this off gently and give this a chamfer, and this piece is done. Okay, now it's time to do a little chamfer. Put our tool here, square it to the piece. You want to make sure that your chamfer is nice and even all the way around. Lock the saddle, get a little closer. All right, there we go. Nice and square. Tighten that up. All right, ready to go. And we did one that was about 1/8 of an inch last time, so let's do the same thing on this side. Now the next portion of this project is to turn this pin, again 4140, to fit inside this inner diameter. Now I've double checked the inner diameter is even throughout, and it comes out to a measurement of, yeah, 1.999, which means we're 0.01 away from 2 inches. Now usually this is about 2 inches and 1 or 2 thousandths over, which means all we can do is take off that layer of slag at very most and make it fit in here. These 2-inch hot rolled 4140, they give you a little extra, but there's a lot of slag there too. So this one is 5 thousandths, almost 6 thousandths of an inch over 2 inches. So we essentially have, 6 to 7 thousandths to play with, plus minus 5. So we'll take this to the lathe and let's do it. Okay, now this piece, of course, is cut to length, but it's not perfectly square, so the first thing I want to do is make it square. So I changed my 3-jaw chuck from my 4-jaw to make things absolutely on the money. The piece is actually slightly oval by about 2 thousandths of an inch, so when I turn it down, that'll take care of that, and by using, say, a total of 4 thousandths, it'll make a really nice round piece that should fit very nicely inside that O-ring. So let's start by facing this off, giving it a chamfer. We'll turn things over, and actually before I do, I'm going to punch one of those center holes so that we could use the live center later. And we'll flip this around, do the same operation on the other side, and then after that we'll be able to turn the part to the correct diameter. Okay, everything is turned around and dialed in, so let's face this side. little bit of back and forth here, but that's all right. I want my customer to be happy. So now I'm going to extend this out, bring out the live center again, press it against, turn this down as very far as I can, flip it around because it'll be perfectly centered then, or perfectly round at that point, and then we'll finish it up. Okay, everything is flipped over or re-extended to the max that I safely want to do it. So now I'm going to touch off, take a very little skim cut all the way across to try to bring it to a nice round surface. So let's do that. That's my touch-off point. Set a 0 on the dial. And now I'm going to go right across at 0. Okay, so as you can see, we had some high spots that I expected, and we're still got a little tiny bit of ways to go to take the slag off, so that's good. I'm going to reorient the tip of my tool. There we go. My chips weren't very good. So I'll bring this back here. We know the 0 is where it was touching off. So I'll set this to go, and we'll go again for another, say, couple thousand, say 2 thousandths of an inch. Thousandths of an inch. Okay, here we go. I'm taking this folder right out. That's good. Now we're going to, as you can see here, still rough around here. So this was quite oval, and that's to be expected. And it's hot rolled, right? It's not like cold roll steel, which is really nearly bang on, like within 5/10 of 1,000ths. But so at this point I have no choice to bring it to round, but I want to take a measurement before I do that. Make sure I'm on a nice clean surface. Okay. You can see where I'm at there, 1998. We got 1999. So we want a sliding fit. So 1997 or 996 would probably be ideal. So we can easily take 1.6, so let's say 2 thousandths of an inch. at this point, we need to do a dry run. So I need to move my tailstock back. This will bring that ring and do a test fit, and it's absolutely perfect. Alright, now we need to turn this over and do the same thing on the other side, and that'll be done with that. Okay, so everything is dialed in, turned around, and I've got the same measurements of 4 thousandths, and I take the 4 thousandths right off the bat, and well, we won't bring it too far. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to interfere with the finish, but we'll probably finish this with some emery cloth or something like that. So let's do it. Sure enough, so this is the slightly lower side. I'd say about not even a thousandth of an inch. But that's all right, looks good. I'll take this apart, extend this a little bit further, give this a good polish, and we should be able to call it a day. Okay, so I'm going to use some 240 grit at first. It's slightly used, so it's not going to be so rough. I want to even out these two edges slightly, and then after that I'm going to use 600 grit to give it a nice finished pass. Let's have a quick look. And of course, I'm more interested in the feel than the look, but I still want it to look good. Okay, sounds good. Alright, that is pretty nice. Beautiful, smooth finish. So let me turn this around and I'll finish it up and we'll go back to the bench. Okay, so it's a job done, and let's quick recap. This pin here, that was the diameter for which we had to turn down this piece too, and that was all right because there was lots of material to go. Now when it comes to this part, this is essentially a 2-inch ring, and we had a piece of 2-inch and 6 thousandths to play with. So when I turn this down, you got to be very cautious, and of course we'll still have a little bit of the pitting that's left, but that is completely unavoidable. We needed a sliding fit that was tight but sliding. So if you're curious what those specifications are, you can go into the machinery's handbook, and those specifications are all there. But sometimes you just gotta work with what you got. So that was a fun job, and thanks for watching. I appreciate if you like and subscribe, and please leave me a comment. I always like to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye.
That was easy.